Alison Thewliss.
Thank you very much, sir. I will try to keep to time on this. And in thinking about this debate, I've been texting my modern studies teacher from high school to ask quite how long I've been thinking about this particular issue, and she reckons probably the start of third year at high school. And all of these arguments, I feel that the organisations involved in supporting this debate should have produced a bingo card, because we would have had a full house probably about an hour ago on the issues brought forward. And there are more things than just the electoral system. There are more things, as has been said, about votes at 16 and House of Lords reform, and most of all, the engagement that we have with our constituents. A whole package of measures that we need to have a better democracy. But a good voting system that is fair and representative and allows a wide range of views to be heard and to be represented in Parliament is very much the most important of that. And it seems to me that the system that we have just now is increasingly discredited and increasingly a system that does not represent those wide range of views. Now, we have experience of this in Scotland, not just in the Scottish Parliament, which has been talked about quite a lot, but in local government in Scotland, where I was lucky enough to be elected twice to Glasgow City Council under the single transferable vote system. And that system, at a stroke, removed the one-party state that had been Glasgow City Council for many, many years and brought in a range of new voices into that council. We have Greens in that council, we had Lib Dems in that council, we had a Tory in that council. And it brought a huge range of views into there, to the point where in some research on this that the Electoral Reform Society did, they found a council officer saying it gave us our council back. There was actually some debate, there was actually some discussion. And Sir Roger Gale, I think that is something that we should very much value, and that was a positive experience. And in mentioning the size of the constituencies as well, I think Glasgow had 3- and 4-member multi-member wards, and what that achieved was actually, if there was a local issue, say the closure of a local sorting office, you could get all 3 or 4 members campaigning together in that one area and being a very strong voice for that area, which amplified the issue. And you could also have, on the more negative side of that, if you had a councillor who'd been there for years, who did hee-haw for you, you would have somebody else that you could actually go to who would help you and be there for you. And that's quite a positive thing for many of my constituents. And while it was a larger council ward, I found certainly that I had that link with people, and I still have that link with a lot of those constituents because it's in the same area as my parliamentary constituency, and that has been a good and positive experience for those people. And they had known nothing but Labour councillors up until that point, and they now have the opportunity to have that wider representation, which I think is absolutely positive and more reflective of their views. And I think having politicians competing for your interest and competing for your vote in an area can only be a good thing, because they'll try and get the work done a bit better and a bit faster. It had been raised as well about the limitations of the European Parliament list, and that is a closed list system, and that list system does have its limitations. But in the SNP, as in the Labour Party, as other honourable members have said, that is elected by the members of that party. We are the second largest party in the whole of the UK, so that's quite a big pool to draw from in terms of electing your representatives onto that list, and that is a good thing and a thing to be encouraged. But one of the kind of disadvantages of the systems that we have just now is that it has so many things that skew the system, that are negative in that system. You've got, as was mentioned, targeting of marginal seats, where if it's a marginal seat, parties will throw all kinds of money at that seat to try and get it back. If you're not in a marginal seat, you'll be lucky if you get a couple of leaflets through the door at all. And that is not a good and representative system, and we need to think a bit better about how we get around these things and how we change these things. And PR, where all votes count a good deal more, would be certainly one way of changing that, particularly when you're asking for second or third preferences from constituents, as happens in Ireland, where it's a far more competitive system and people are fighting for those votes. And if you're an elector in that system, you want to have people fighting for your votes. I think it's important as well that we talk about how we set up politics as well, because constituency size is an issue, and the European Parliament constituencies are perhaps too large, and that is a factor in people not knowing who the representative is. Some of that comes down to the representative and their ability to communicate and to connect. And that is a burden on those people to try and represent such huge constituencies. But where you do have that balance in Scotland with the regional lists, it's a good balance, it's a fair balance, and people can actually go and make those links and make that change and actually connect with their constituents. I think we need to do a lot more of connecting, but we also need to look at the fundamental structures of the system, because it is not working at the moment.